sniper price for Independence Day. I don't even have this pulled up. Let me go ahead and actually pull up my screen for you guys. This is an emergency live stream because exactly as we predicted in our short video that we posted yesterday, we are now testing the monthly open for Bitcoin above 20,000 US dollars, snipers. This is a 4th of July bullish push to the upside. Not a surprise though, for those that have been tuned into the Snipers channel. We know why Bitcoin is testing the monthly open, getting above 20,000 right now, because the equity markets on Friday closed above their monthly open. And so the most likely scenario for Bitcoin during this 3-day weekend was to get above 20,000 US dollars. And we weren't expecting a break of this symmetrical triangle yesterday specifically, because now we do not have ascending sell pressure anymore. We saw a stop to that. And so everything right now has been exactly as predicted. But for Independence Day, there are some things I want to talk about today. I'm going to let Josh also speak. We are still inside of our long position with an entry at 19,480. Actually, I got a better entry as Bitcoin came down at 19,233 on 10x leverage. I have a liquidation price of 17,543 right now. A couple of things I want to just mention, and we'll get back into the charts, and then we'll talk about Josh inside of his short position above the monthly open, which was a great idea actually, because we did get rejected, and on leverage, you're already in profits, just as much of a profit as I am in my long at 19,200. And that's the great thing about this market. You can make money on the way up and on the way down. But check this out, snipers. Bitcoin has successfully created bullish divergence on the daily time frame for the first time since breaking below 20,000 US dollars. Now, I'll be honest, this isn't confirmed because at any point this could actually change. It's very premature to call this a bullish divergence, but so far it looks like a bullish divergence, and this is the first time since Bitcoin broke below 20,000 US dollars. But more importantly, Celsius continues to pay down their Bitcoin vault loan now with a liquidation price of $8,840. They brought that down from $22,000 of a liquidation price now down to 8,000 US dollars. Those are some very positive things to come into this Independence Day with. This is going to be a quick live stream. I see we've got Johnny and over 100 people tuned in right now. Thank you all for tuning in. Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm if you support this content. So I'll quickly talk about what I'm expecting right now, and then I'll let Josh talk about what he's expecting. And right now we are inside of this symmetrical triangle. We got above the 2018 previous all-time high at 19,798. If there's any significant level right now, that is a significant level. And the fact that Bitcoin broke above it, what we'd like to do right now is hold above it if we want to assume any further upside targets. So what we're waiting for is full 4-hour candles above that level, which we've yet to get. Notice how every wick so far has held on to that level, which means we haven't fully conquered ourselves above this level. So this is very important to keep in mind, because until we can get a full 4-hour candle, wick and body above 19,798, that is not considered a confirmed snipers breakout. So we got the test of the monthly open. I'm sure this was a great place to take a short position if that's what you're looking to do. And even if you were long down here, it wouldn't have been a bad idea to take a short position here, because that's profits that were on the table. It was pretty clear that we were going to at least reject the monthly open, as that is a very strong level that we actually rejected already in the past. And so we have to ask ourselves a question. Equity markets are closed today in observance of Independence Day. So they closed above the monthly open. I'll also say that the daily close for the S&P 500 above the monthly open was sort of bullish, not the most bullish. And so could we just make an assumption that Bitcoin at this point has fulfilled the move that it was trying to make this weekend, and now it's going to wait for the equity markets to make its next move? I think that's the most reasonable opinion. As long as we don't see a decoupling effect between Bitcoin against the S&P 500, I don't think there's a reason for Bitcoin to really make much more of a movement. And we talked about this yesterday. Bitcoin was most likely just going to come to the monthly open throughout this weekend. And at that point, when Tuesday comes, we have to observe the equity markets to see what the next move could be. And remember, the S&P 500 has been losing steam with this downtrend. Actually, we have bullish divergence with the MACD right now. And so let's see what happens as Tuesday opens up. I'd pretty much say that at this point, for long positions, it's not a good idea to be entertaining those, at least on high leverage. because of the fact that we already saw the move to the upside. The time to get in was down here for the test of the symmetrical triangle support. And at this point, you know, I know, Josh, you took a short at this monthly open. Could you talk a little bit about that? And then I'll get into more of my thoughts.
100%. So yeah, let me go ahead and share my screen and then I can have it. So,
perfect.
by the way, how is everyone doing? Please leave a comment in the live chat if you enjoyed this content.
We got Swamp Gator on, Johnny on.
So this is basically, I'll show you kind of what I think may possibly happen. So the whole thing is, this is Bitcoin on the 7-minute right now. And this right here is the 1 hour. And if I zoom out, you can kind of see things a little bit better. This is the volume weighted average price, this moving average that you guys are seeing. So basically what I did is I took a short at the monthly open, and my stop loss is right above, you know, this candle right here. So right above 20,000 is my stop loss. So it's a very, very tight stop loss. So even if this comes and back up and pumps and hits 20,000 again, and I get stopped out, I didn't really lose anything. And so the whole thing is, this red line going down here, as long as we can continuously respect this line, I don't care how much it pumps, because there's always going to be mini pumps. There's always going to be mini pumps, even in a downtrend. So as long as we don't, you know, basically if we go and we breach this red line, that's when I may consider selling my short position in profit and just taking, you know, a smaller profit than usual. But for me, I just saw it getting rejected. Now, obviously, I'm a Bitcoin bull, right? I very rarely short, only when I see a good opportunity. Something Naeem and I always talk about is that, you know, we're having a cup of coffee below 20,000. So that's kind of bearish. We basically retested the 200-week moving average, which, you know, as resistance. So that's very bearish. Not only that, but also at the same time, you know, we retested 20,000 and immediately got turned back around. You can see by this wick right here. And we're just struggling in the short term. Now, I was in a long position. I had a very similar entry to Naeem. We were in a long position. And once we had this pump, we closed our long position, saw that we were getting rejected, and then decided to open up a short at the monthly open, which right now is in profit. And so really my whole goal for this, I'll go ahead and tell you like what I think, right? Besides basically selling whenever we breach this red line, if we do, and then closing it out in profit. Essentially, I'm waiting for it to come back down to the volume weighted average price. At that point, I will have 25% of my position sold. Then when we hit this daily, weekly open, I'll sell 50% of my position will be sold at that point. And then there will be 75% when we retest the bottom of this line. And so if you basically look at that, let's go look at the 4 hours so we can see more.
So I don't think that's a bad idea. If you go to somebody on the streets, like you said, Josh, in our last live stream, and you say, hey, I just took a long position on Bitcoin inside of a bear market on a 3-day weekend, they would look at you like you're crazy, right? I mean, it's one of the most craziest. I mean, it's like you're asking to get liquidated. So taking a short position in a bear market on a 3-day weekend, I don't think is a bad idea. That's why I love the fact that I personally did it. I took the long. I may have went short if I had the opportunity to do so, but man, you were up early for this short position.
Yeah. I always wake up early at like 4 in the morning and just check my phone to check the, you know, the charts, because usually the best entries are somewhere around there. But I just saw we were getting rejected. Now, not only are we getting rejected, so by the way, I'll only have 25% of my shorts still in by the time we hit this line. And if we breach this line further, then that's when we're going to see a lot more downside.
Edward said it's cool that you're using Market Cipher.
But what I'm saying is, look, I don't even really look too much at these indicators. It's really market structure, volume, and overall trend. I really don't even look that much nowadays at indicators, but I just like to have them up just in case. I've got like 8 different indicators over here, so we can take a look at here in a second. But indicators are the least important. So really the whole thing is like, if we breach this lower line right here, the asymmetrical triangle, then our next target is 17,500, right? And then from there, we also have a big support line down here at 14,000. And so this is on the 4-hour chart. So I want you guys to see kind of how this kind of looks, right? Now, another reason why I'm in this position is because, you know, we keep printing higher or basically lower highs, right? So we had this this high right here, and look at that wick. Sometimes you can just tell the top, or at least the local top, right? You can just tell because it just literally wicks right up and then gets rejected, right? Same thing here, wicked up to the monthly open, got rejected, did it again, lower high, lower high, lower high, until we breach, as long as we respect this red line going down, which is just simple classic technical analysis, then I'm going to hold the short position. Like I said, the volume weighted average price, that's where I'm going to sell 25%, 50% here at the daily weekly the open. I'll have 75% sold here and let the rest of the 25% ride, and then put my stop loss to break even, or even, basically in profit. And then I would just ride that 25% all the way down to the next targets, right? So that's essentially what I'm doing. And then the other thing I wanted to mention too is, like, you can just tell right here when we wicked all the way back up here, you can just tell by the wick formation. And the bottom on the 4 hour, the body of the candle starts right here under 20,000 minus the wick. So obviously this 20,000 range is like, and I know I have it a little over 20,000. There's a reason for that, because that's just happens to be where the most long-term confluence is exactly at that range. But you can tell even on the short term, look at this confluence here, and we wicked and touched it here. And we're just consistently, even on the 4 hour, we're consistently making lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. Now here's something I do want to say. This is why my stop loss is pretty much, very, very close to my entry. Because in this specific, it's just very uncertain. If you're trading these uncertain times, it's like Naeem always says too, you want to be taking base hits. So the cool thing is though, is basically, as long the trend is your friend till the end, right? Until she decides to dump. So that's kind of our saying.
I love it, man. It's all
about this time.
Yeah, no, it's all about base hits, and I think it's very clear right now that if we are going to be continuing inside of this downtrend, then we are certainly forming a lower high right now. And this was clearly one of the lower highs. And then we had a lower high here. And then obviously these highs that came in at 22 and 23,000 are some of the higher, lower highs that are on the chart in this inside of this market structure. And so I think one thing we could look at right now is volume, and just kind of talk about what type of volume we're seeing. On the smaller time frames, I will say that when we did come down, we had a lot of sell pressure. We haven't seen buy pressure equate to that. And so right now we are seeing a pump, but it's on very low buy volume. So I think that this monthly open is going to serve as a resistance. If we get above that monthly open sitting right around 20,000 at the break even, then there's a high chance we could come and test 21,000 US dollars. Now, I think the significance of 21,000 right now is the fact that we have the previous weekly open there and the market structural resistance. And so we know that's a very important level. And it would also have to invalidate this recent lower high in order for us to come and test that level. So the first confirmation of that is getting hourly and 4 hour candles above that monthly open at 20,000, and then getting to 21,000. Bitcoin could easily see a nice spike all the way up to 24,000, because just based on the market structure, if this broke out, it puts us in a position to test the 50-day moving average, which is actually at 26,000. So here's what the most bullish case is going to be. This doesn't mean we're not seeing 10,000. Somebody in the comments the other day said, man, Bitcoin's going to 10,000. Yeah, it could go to 10,000, but what if that happens in December? What if that doesn't happen yet and Bitcoin gets to the 50-day, holds 24,000, comes up to fill the CME gap at 28,000, and then maybe over the next few months it sells off to then eventually see a final capitulation around the end of the year where we come and we see 10,000 US dollars. That's on the table. Well, if this is going to happen, then you sure as hell want to be getting in now under 20K, because if it's going to spend a lot of time above 20K, specifically 24K for the next few months, then the best positions to have are below 20K. So, I'm not saying it ain't going to see 10,000, but what I am saying is it could very well fill the gap here at 28,000 for that CME gap before we see anything less. And 10,000 can come even next year maybe. It might take some time. And so we can't just sit here and say, okay, just because it's justified for Bitcoin to come to 10,000 to see the full 85% bear market correction, it's not just going to happen in a straight line. Nothing happens in a straight line in the markets, right? And so we could expect a relief rally on the way there. And so I think that's what I'm betting on. That's why I was confident entering into a long position here. For those on the Discord, you know we are inside of a long position. I have my entry at 19,233, and I sent out this position at 19,480, already hitting 2 profit targets. We're waiting for a nice break above 20,000, which we may or may not get in the immediate short term. There's still a possibility that we can come back down to the symmetrical triangle support, get faked out, even break below the recent lows here, because we've seen Bitcoin do that in its temporary bottoms in the past. We've seen it time and time again, where Bitcoin looks like it's ready for a reversal, and then it still fails and will break all lows that were formed to clear out any leverage that came in before it sees the true reversal. So we've seen it happen time and time again that Bitcoin decides to still come back down. So in a bear market, it's never a bad idea to take short positions. As a matter of fact, that's one of the rules, to follow the major trend. And the major trend right now is down. But that also has to, you still have to keep in mind that there are opportunities for long positions as well. So anyways, Josh and I don't want to be on too long because it's 4th of July, and it's not really about us. It's more about you guys. We want you guys to enjoy your time with your friends and family. And so we want to just give you the most important information today. And so let's see. Edward says the Pi cycle bottom indicator should cross next week. Refot says we're in the best buying opportunity of our lives right now. Been dollar cost averaging into Matic, Solana, FTM1, and Huno. Nice. Somebody's talking about a relief rally to 260,000. I don't know about that. Inverse Adam and Eve target is just below the previous level of 17,000. So anyways, other than
one thing I did want to show too, whenever you're done.
No, go ahead, bro. Share your screen if you want.
All right, cool. Yeah, so I just wanted to show this bearish divergence forming on the 1 hour now, along with maybe a few other things. So basically, I've got my RSI pulled up right here at the bottom. What we're seeing right now is, like I said, I'm not concerned. Like a lot of people, when they're shorting, they get faked out by some of these mini pumps, because you are going to see mini pumps on the way down. But like I said, that's why this red line is here. I don't care how much it pumps, as long as it doesn't break above this red line. I short open and by the way, Naeem and I are usually always in the same position. This is the first time that we're usually, not in the same position. But it's not like he went short at a certain point and I went long at the same point. We both have different entries, so it's just because I already closed out my long in profit. So what am I going to do? Open up a long at 20,000? It's like, that wouldn't have been a good idea, right? So I pretty much had to short. But here's the thing, is that we're forming bearish divergence, right? And so let me go ahead and pull this up on the 1 hour so you guys can see this. So if you actually come right here, I'm going to draw a line from right here to right here. And we'll go ahead and make this white so it's easier to see. So just draw it like that so you can see it better. So anyway, we're going up right here, but on the RSI, as you can see, we're forming bearish divergence, which means that
very bearish divergence
coming long. Yeah. So basically, we went from, we're going up in terms of price, but however, we're going down in terms of relative strength, and that's why. It keeps trying to pump, but it just, not only can it not even reach, 20,000 right now, which it's tried several times, but it just can continue to struggle. As you can see on this 1 hour chart, it's struggling to even touch the damn red line, let alone 20,000. In addition to, forming bearish divergence, right? But here's the thing, in an uptrend, and I'm glad we're talking about this because Naeem and I talk about it all the time. In an uptrend, you have to be careful about bearish divergence, because sometimes even though you may have it, it may not mean much. So is there a possibility, I get wrecked on this trade? I mean, I don't think so, because I can just close it in profit as soon as it's, breaches this red line. But that's why you always want to be careful about where you enter and where you exit, like not just exit, but your stop loss, right? So it's okay to have a tight stop loss if you do it at the right moment. And you don't always have to dollar cost average into a position. Sometimes that can be very risky because then you have to commit to that position, as opposed to maybe getting in and maybe your analysis wasn't correct, so you get out on a tight stop loss. The whole thing is like, sometimes I'd rather lose a little than lose a lot, right? So I don't, as much nowadays, I don't average into positions unless I plan on holding it for a while. For like day trading stuff, I just waited for the monthly open, took a short stop loss right here. It's like literally right above the weekly open, this red dotted line. So I'm not risking much. I could even theoretically use high leverage in a large percentage of my account. It doesn't matter because I've timed it in such a way where literally my stop loss is so close, but it has a very low likelihood of getting hit, at least for a while. So I'm still bullish, just so you guys know. Like, I'm as bullish as anybody on Bitcoin, but I'm just waiting for it to come back down here to this white line so that I can long it again. But the safest thing to do is wait for a breakout or a breakdown.
You were the reason I took a long at the support of the symmetrical triangle, because you mentioned that. I wanted to take a long at 20, and I did get in at 20, and then I closed that in profits because you said, hey, there's a chance we test the support of the symmetrical triangle now that we have a symmetrical triangle. And so I appreciate you mentioning that, Josh. Vincent says, Naeem and Joshua, great analysis. Keep up the good work, and the likes will follow. You rock. Thank you, Vincent.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And so on this bearish divergence, another thing I'm looking at is this line right here on the RSI indicator, because I know that even though we are having this little pump, as you can see, it just wicked, so chances are it's going to lose strength, because that's what the indicator is saying. It's saying it's losing strength right now. And so as long as we continue to respect not just this red line up here on the chart, I guess what I can do is turn this red too, just so we can kind of see it better. Let's do this. Oh, that's too light. Okay, so the whole thing is, guys, is that as long as we continue to respect this line too, then I'm going to keep the trade open. Even if it does pump above the red line, I may just, close it at break even. It just doesn't really matter. But the whole thing is that that's something to keep your eye on. In fact, we are pumping right now, so I might have to get out of break even. Like I said, you never know. You always gotta have a tight stop. But so far, we are respecting it on the RSI. So
I'll let you get to your.
It's all good. I'm gonna say I'll just close it out at break even.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, man. Here's my opinion why I'm in a long right now. It's the fact that equity markets closed above their monthly open, quite significantly above the monthly open. So, the abnormal behavior would be for Bitcoin to do anything but that. Anything below 20,000 is abnormal for Bitcoin right now. So that's my opinion. That's why I think that, it may have been smart to take your short here and, take some profits off the table. I think you were at 20% profits at one point, unless you already took profits. But, I think in the more macro, when we're not talking about the hourly time frame, we're talking about the 6 hour and the 12-hour time frame. I think, I think Bitcoin's more likely to spend some time up here above 20,000. And once equity markets open up, if we can open up strong and see some fulfillment of that bullish MACD crossover on the S&P 500, then I think there's certainly a possibility that we could even see a further breakout. So if the equity markets close or open up and close doing the opposite where they start to fall, then maybe this is an opportunity to short here. So we'll see what happens. Happy Independence Day, everyone. I know, Josh, you have something to do here on your trade. We're seeing some price action.
I'm just going to leave it open. Like, I guess let me just share one last thing. It's just the thing is like, I'll go ahead and start sharing. But the thing is that whatever, it's called flipping, right? It's when previous support becomes resistance and vice versa. Previous resistance becomes support. So what I've done is, I'm still going to leave this trade open because it's, 20,000 is such a key level that it either is going to test it as support or it is going to test it as resistance. And the fact that we wicked above here and the candle didn't close, like, I'm just going to leave it open because, as you can see, we're still, even with this recent little pump, we're still making lower highs. Lower high, lower high, lower high. And it really has trouble getting above 20,000 right now, as you can see by the bearish divergence on the chart. So me personally, I'm just going to leave it open. And yeah, and even if I get stopped out, it's a very tight stop. I'm not going to be losing much, or it'll just be break even, right? So that's the scenario. Like if you're ever in a trade where they said there's only 5 possible. This is a great thing to end on too as well. They say there's only 5 possible outcomes of a trade, right? There's only 5 possible outcomes. You either have a small win, you have a small loss, you break even, or you have a big win, or you have a big loss. As long as you eliminate number 5, right? Eliminate number 5 out of the equation entirely, you're going to be massively ahead of where you would be, in your trading.
Dude, I love that, man. Could you say that one more time, Josh?
Yeah, so you only have 5 possible outcomes of your trade. There's only 5 possible outcomes. Number 1 is a small win. Number 2 is a small loss. Number 3 is break even. Number 4 is a big win. And number 5 is a big loss. So as long as you eliminate number 5 completely, then you will be light years ahead of everyone else in trading. And so that's why I never enter a trade where I have a loose stop loss. I time it correctly. Like right now I entered at 20,000. My stop loss is directly above 20,000 right here. So like, do I really care if it hits my stop loss? The answer is no, not really. So I'm going to hold the trade open. Not to say that it won't turn bullish. It probably will turn bullish. Who knows? They always try to clear out the shorts before dropping down further. They always try to clear out the longs before going up further. So
100%.
So you always got to be prepared to catch a break.
If you guys want more of that wisdom, Joshua's YouTube channel link is in the description. Make sure to subscribe to his channel. We want to get him to 1,000 subscribers. And I will wrap up with this 4-dimensional analysis. So the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart is holding 53,500 Satoshis strong. Why is this important? Because altcoins will follow Ethereum. Ethereum goes first. It's a leading indicator. The fact that we're holding 53,500 Satoshis justifies that a bullish case is certainly on the table. There is a bullish scenario that is likely. If we were showing weakness, then that would be off the table, but we're showing strength there. And Bitcoin dominance also looks extremely weak, which is a positive thing because we know in a bull market like what happened in 2020, what did Bitcoin dominance do? It continued to fall. So when you're seeing Bitcoin dominance fall in any bull market, Bitcoin dominance coming down is a very positive thing. And so even in a bear market, when it's coming down, it's actually a positive thing because it shows that capital is moving into altcoins, showing confidence in other parts of the cryptocurrency market, not just in Bitcoin, which is the storage of value. And it's just the same way with equities with gold. If gold starts to move up, it shows fear. But when gold is just neutral or it's trending down, it shows that investors and institutions are more risk on. And so the 4-dimensional revolving parts are looking good. Futures markets are really the only thing open right now. I'll mention this. Japan is up 0.8%. China and Europe, they're both up right now. Not significantly, but they're not down. That's a great thing. And so that's quite positive for the American Open coming up here.
Why don't you show them the DXY?
The DXY is very bullish. I would say that it's still a very bearish puzzle piece for Bitcoin. So we'll definitely have to continue monitoring the DXY as we start to see the markets open up. But the DXY is still bullish. I mean, it is in price discovery. We cannot deny that. And it's breaking 20-year highs. And so we have to expect this to want to continue further up. And until the DXY stops moving up, it's very unlikely that we're going to find the ultimate bottom. But, it doesn't mean we're not going to be seeing relief rallies on the way. Like I said, even though Bitcoin could potentially come down to 10,000, it could happen in December. It doesn't have to happen tomorrow or overnight. What if we bounce to 28, we stay up here for a bit before we start to stair step our way down again? Those are all scenarios that are on the table. What I'll say, though, is so far inside of the symmetrical triangle, if we can get a breakout above 21,000, that's going to be a very positive sign. Celsius already lowered their liquidation price all the way down to 8,000. And so, we can kind of take that off the table that a bad actor is trying to liquidate Celsius because it's going to take a lot for that to happen at this point. Maybe a little bit too much to happen, right? So that fundamental news I think was very good to see today. So with that, I honestly have to go. It's 4th of July, and I appreciate each and every one of you tuned in to the Snipers channel. Thank you all for being on our live chat today. Thank you so much, Josh, for being with us as well. We always appreciate your thoughts here on the Snipers channel. And do you have anything else that you wanted to share before we wrap this baby up? I think your mic is muted.
Yeah, it was on mute on accident. But no, that's about it. I appreciate everything, and I think that if we do get a break above 20,000, which is very, very possible, if you are shorting, that's where your stop loss needs to be, and you may want to even consider based off volume. I don't know. I think taking a long might be a little bit too risky at 20,000, but I do think that if there's a breakout above the pattern, then it would be worth taking a long for sure if you're not already in.
Absolutely. A break of 21,000. That's a very strong confirmation.
Yeah, and we'll keep an eye on the DXY. It does look like it's doing well, which, it would be interesting if the DXY pumps and Bitcoin pumps. That'd be a decorrelation in and of itself.
It's happened before, so we'll see. I haven't had any food today. I'm going to go break my fast. Thank you guys for tuning in to the channel. Enjoy your Independence Day with your friends and family. We want to make sure that we brought the most important information to you guys. And I will see you guys next time. Snipers